Okay, let's unpack this. So if you ever feel like you're in a constant battle, first against yourself, the procrastination, the anxiety, and then you immediately turn around and it feels like you're battling the world.
Yeah, trying to manage what everyone else thinks or says or even expects from you.
Exactly. Then this deep dive it's really for you. We are going into two, remarkably simple frameworks, the 5-second rule and the let them theory.
That's right. And the source material we're digging into today is this fantastic blend of a really raw personal story and some very practical behavioral science.
It follows this one author's journey from, total crisis
Paralyzing debt, yeah.
to becoming this world-renowned voice. But our mission here really is to pull out the core mechanics
Yeah.
because, just knowing about these tools isn't enough.
Right. It's useless. Knowledge without instant application is just, well, it's mental clutter. You need something that clicks the second you feel that hesitation or that irritation.
And we're looking at two different battlegrounds here. First, that internal war, just to get yourself to act. And then the external one, the fight for your own peace of mind.
So we have to start with that internal battle, that moment, and we all know it, where you know exactly what you should do, but you just can't make yourself move.
To really get the power of the 5-second rule, you have to understand the crisis she was in. She's 41 years old.
Right.
She's got $800,000 in debt. She's unemployed. And her husband's business is collapsing around them.
It's just the perfect storm of external pressure and this feeling of, internal failure.
And she had tried everything. A public defender, a corporate lawyer, a life coach. She even ran a pottery studio at one point.
And nothing was sticking. She felt completely lost. And that anxiety, that massive anxiety, it led to all the classic avoidance stuff.
And we're not talking small things. It was chronic procrastination, hitting the snooze button over and over every single morning.
Using alcohol at night to just sort of numb everything, blaming her husband for how miserable she felt. Even opening the mail with the bills felt like physically impossible. She was just paralyzed by her own thoughts.
So here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
She realizes she's stuck. The second she has an impulse to do something good, her brain just floods with all the reasons not to.
It's an instant shutdown.
Right. And one morning, the alarm goes off, and in this moment of just pure desperation, she has this almost silly thought flash through her mind. Countdown. Like a NASA rocket launch.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the rule was she had to physically launch her body out of bed before her brain could catch up and talk her out of it.
And the big discovery wasn't the counting itself, right? It was the mechanism behind it.
Exactly. The countdown physically interrupts that loop of hesitation and overthinking. It's a trick to get your body moving before your mind can slam on the brakes.
But why 5 seconds? Is that just an arbitrary number she picked?
You'd think so, but it's not. There's real behavioral science here. 5 seconds is this kind of critical window.
Okay.
If you have an impulse to act on something, get out of bed, speak up in a meeting, whatever, and you don't move within about 5 seconds.
The brain kicks in.
Your brain's defense mechanism kicks in, yeah. It just floods you with doubt, fear, excuses, inertia. The countdown is how you win that race against your own brain.
That makes so much sense. So it's not about waiting to feel motivated. It's about realizing you can feel awful. You can be anxious, tired, completely terrified, and still do the thing.
Action is the antidote. Thinking about the problems more will not solve them.
And how she first shared this with the world is, it's just pure chaos.
Oh, it's an amazing story. She's at this early TEDx event, and she is so terrified that she has a full-on 21-minute anxiety attack right there on stage.
Oh, my God.
She loses her place, forgets her ending completely, and in a total panic, just blurts out the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule as her closing line.
And she must have thought she just ruined your entire life.
Her whole career. Instead, that talk became one of the most watched TEDx talks in the world. People connected because it was so real, so applicable. It wasn't some academic theory. It was a lifeline.
And the impact went way beyond just procrastination.
Well, it was stunning. People were writing in saying they use it to make cold calls, to quit drinking, even to stop themselves from self-harm.
Wow.
Clinicians started using it with patients who had PTSD, severe OCD, depression. It's a literal neurological hack that lets the rational part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, grab the steering wheel back from the emotional brain.
That is the perfect setup for the next problem she faced. Because once she started acting, using the rule, she realized she was still exhausted.
She was winning that internal battle, but losing all her energy trying to manage everything and everyone outside of herself.
And this is where we get the second framework, the let them theory.
Right. She realized just how much time and energy she was wasting worrying about what other people thought, what they might say, what they expected.
So the theory is basically two words: let them.
Just let them. It's this instant grant of freedom because it shifts your focus from what you can't control, other people, back to the only thing you ever can.
Which is you.
Your actions, your responses.
But let's ground this in science, because you mentioned research from Dr. Aditi Nurkar that explains the physical cost of all that worry.
It's a neurological hijack. So think of it this way. Normally, your prefrontal cortex, your logical planning brain, is driving the car.
Okay, the CEO of the brain.
The CEO. But when you feel a threat, and it could be a real danger or just an annoying person on the bus, stress hits, and control instantly shifts to the amygdala.
The amygdala.
Yeah,
That's the ancient part, the reptilian brain. It's all about fight, flight, or freeze.
precisely. And that response is meant to be a short burst, run from the tiger, then calm down. But the research shows 7 out of 10 of us are living in chronic stress.
So our amygdala is always kind of humming in the background.
It's always humming. And when you let these little external annoyances trigger you, you're constantly handing control over to that emotional, reactive part of your brain. It just drains your energy.
So let them is like a circuit breaker. It stops that external thing from causing an internal meltdown.
Yes. The coughing passenger on the plane is the perfect example. She's flying to a huge speaking gig, and the guy next to her is just, open mouth, coughing everywhere.
Oh, the worst.
Her first response is just rage and trying to control him with, passive aggression, glaring at him, slamming her laptop keys.
She's trying to manage a stranger's behavior, which is a losing game.
A totally impossible game. And what was the result? She ruined her own trip, she spiked her own anxiety about getting sick, and she arrived completely stressed out.
So the let them response would be to recognize, I can't control his cough.
Let him cough. But then, this is the important part, you pivot to the let me.
Okay, I have to ask, though, because this is where I think people get stuck. Isn't there a line where let them just becomes being a doormat? You're just accepting bad behavior.
That is the critical distinction. And it's not about being passive. It's about actively choosing your highest value response.
What does that mean in practice?
She uses a great park ranger example. Signs everywhere, leash your dog, clean up the waste. She sees someone just walk away, leaving their dog's mess.
Okay, so what are her let me options?
She has a few. She could let me walk away, deciding her peace is more important than this one battle, or let me report the guy, or let me be the bigger person, pick it up myself, and move on with my day.
So you choose the response based on your own time, your energy, and your values.
Exactly. The power is in choosing your action. Refusing to let some inconsiderate person hijack your emotions, that's the active choice.
Okay, so let's take that from strangers to people we actually know. Because the weight of opinions from friends and family, that's maybe where we give away the most power.
It is huge. The author admits she delayed turning her social media into a real business platform for 2 full years.
2 years. Why?
Because she was terrified. Her friends would think, who does she think she is? That one little fear of being judged as, arrogant or a sellout, it cost her 2 years of progress.
That's incredible. And the book has a tool for this, for navigating that kind of disapproval, especially from people you love.
Yeah.
The frame of reference.
Yes, and this is a game changer. It reminds you that other people's opinions are almost always a product of their own lived experience. They aren't really judging you.
They're projecting their own stuff onto your decision.
They're projecting their fears, their past failures, their regrets. The anecdote she uses is about her own mother's reaction to her getting married.
Her mom was not happy about it.
Not at all. And for years, the author thought it was a judgment on her husband. But it wasn't about him at all.
It was about her mom's own life.
Yeah. Her mom had moved far away from her family at 17, got pregnant young, and really struggled without a support system. So her disapproval wasn't about her daughter's happiness now. It was fear based on her own hardship then.
When you see it through that frame, it changes everything. It's not an attack, it's concern, or maybe even grief.
Right. And then you can say, let them have their opinion, which comes from their life, and let me live my life in a way that I'm proud of.
This applies so brutally to dating. I mean, the sources are really clear. Dating is a process of elimination. You find love by being brave enough to say no.
And this is the simple, hard truth the material hammers home. A person's behavior tells you everything. Mixed signals are not mixed.
They mean you're a convenience, not a priority.
Exactly. When someone is truly in, their actions are consistent. You don't have to guess.
This is where the courage part of Let Me comes in. The author talks about this commitment conversation formula.
From Matthew Hussey, yeah. And it's not about giving an ultimatum. It's about valuing your own time and clearly stating what you're looking for.
And if they say no, or if they just give you the bare minimum,
The table scraps, as she calls them.
then you have to use the theory.
You have to. Let them be someone who isn't ready or willing to give you what you need. And then the let me has to be, let me move on and find someone who is. Accepting those scraps is the biggest failure of this theory.
It takes so much self-respect to walk away from that. But the alternative is being stuck, right?
It is. Which brings us to the last big internal battle, comparison. Because even when you're taking action and managing stress, you're human. You're going to compare yourself to others.
The key is what you do with it. We have to separate comparison into one of two buckets: torture or teacher.
Let's start with torture, because that's where most of us live.
Sadly, yes.
Torture is when you obsess over things you cannot change. Someone else's height, their metabolism, the family they were born into, their natural talent for something.
Focusing on any of that is just an act of, well, self-torture.
It's a guaranteed energy sink. You have to learn to say, let them have that. It's not mine to have, so I'm not going to waste my energy on it.
But if you can make that shift, comparison can become your greatest teacher. So how do you do that practically?
You focus only on the changeable things. You look at their career, their fitness habits, their financial discipline, and you stop asking, why them and not me?
And you start asking,
What steps did they take that I can learn from? Their success becomes a blueprint, an inspiration.
this reframes jealousy completely. The source actually calls jealousy an invitation from your future self.
It is. There's a story about a designer named Molly who was just paralyzed. She was so afraid to promote herself. And she was just stewing in this frustration until this local competitor started getting under her skin.
What was the competitor doing?
Everything right, had a great website, active social media, getting all the local press. And Molly was just furious and so jealous.
But that anger became the fuel.
It became the fuel and the formula. The competitor wasn't just making her feel bad. She was literally showing Molly the exact steps she needed to take, but was avoiding.
She was her unintentional teacher.
It all comes back to that Tom Brady quote the author uses. You don't have to be special. You just have to be what most people aren't. Consistent, determined, and willing to work for it.
It's about putting in the reps.
It's always about putting in the reps.
So what does this all mean?
It means we've got these two tools that work perfectly together. The 5-second rule is your launch code. It forces you to break through hesitation in the moment.
And then the let them theory gives you the focus. It tells you where to point all that action.
Right. Point it at your life, your goals, your responses, not at trying to control the uncontrollable world around you.
The ultimate power shift is just realizing that you are always in control of your response.
Right.
Always. You get to decide if someone else's bad mood or someone else's success is going to derail you.
Or if it's going to inform and inspire your next move.
And the author leaves us with this challenge to think about the hidden cost of not acting. That fear of judgment. What does it really cost us?
It's the book you never wrote, the photo you never posted, the trip you didn't book, the thing you were afraid to say.
So the final question for you is, can you really afford the price of not using Let Me? The beauty of the sky isn't ruined by clouds or storms. In fact, that unpredictability is part of what makes it magnificent. The power to navigate your path under your sky, no matter the weather. That power is always yours.
You just have to feel the impulse, count down from 5, and move.